Well, hello. My name is Dr. Payne, which sounds awesome. It's the only reason I got my PhD. These things are super annoying. I'm so glad we're not in here ever again. Okay. I'll be your instructor for ACOM 3360. Okay. One of the things that we'll do in this class is we don't just lecture. It's boring. It's boring for you and it's boring for me. So please interact as much as possible. Okay. I know that's not always how classes are, but I want you guys to engage, all right? So please do. It makes it a lot more fun, a lot more interesting, and then nobody falls asleep, okay? Because of that, one of my favorite quotes is listen to understand, not to respond. Even though I'm asking you questions, I want you to respond. Think about it sometimes. So a lot of times people ask the questions, we just answer, right? Without even thinking about it, okay? So give some thought. Okay, who am I? I love to barbecue. Okay, and this class is before lunch, so I try not to talk about it too much. Right? I like barbecue. I like to brew beer when I have time, which I don't have very much time for. I like sports. Like to woodwork, play a little guitar, all that good stuff. Like to work out. I'm raising world champions because Daddy wants a gold medal, so I can retire early. Right? Why am I qualified to instruct this course? If you've never had a professor explain to you who they are or their credentials, you should probably question who the hell they are and what they're doing in the front of the classroom. Some of you guys just show up, huh? I don't know, they were up there talking. Sit and listen. What do you know about them? Okay, find some stuff out. I got my undergrad degree at Oregon State University. It's a whole other country in the Pacific Northwest. All right. We got the best baseball team in the country. 3 national championships. Okay, last one in 2018. I also teach at Texas A&M, and I always bring that up. Take it to the Yankees, okay? All right. We'll get into that in a little bit. I got my master's at University of Florida. Oregon State's not very good at football, so I can't really talk about football. Okay? Although we did beat our rival, which is good. I got my master's at University of Florida. I got my PhD at A&M. Okay? I also teach at Texas A&M. I teach in the Corps Cadets. If you've seen a football game, they're in the band. They're the ones that wear uniforms. Weirdos in khaki, right? It's just nodding the whole time. 60% of them do not go military. There's no requirement to join the military if you're in the Corps Cadets, which a lot of people don't know. They just subject themselves to that for 4 years which is actually kind of cool, I think. Okay. Before I started teaching full-time, I worked for the extension service at Texas A&M. Does anybody not know what extension is? Everybody knows? Most people in ag know, but a lot of people don't. Okay. So that's a good thing. I did development also. That's what brought me here. That's fundraising. I was living in Montana before coming here. I was never going to leave Montana, right? And then A&M kept calling me over and over again. And my mom's from Big Spring, Texas, way out west. So I've got ties here, and I was a military brat, so moved around a lot. Okay. That's my civilian experience. Now I teach full-time here and part-time at A&M. I also serve in the Texas Air National Guard, which is the Air Force. I do that part-time. We do counter-drug operations. Watching y'all. Okay. So that's a little bit about me. Okay, teaching style. This is interactive, okay? I started COVID because of this class, okay? It wasn't Wuhan, it was me. I hated teaching this class online only. Had to do it because everybody has to take 3360. A lot of people have to take 3360. So it gets jammed, it gets backlogged, and we try to do it. So we do it online, which is not great. So I said, can we just meet once in person and do the rest online? And they were like, yeah. And then they were like, oh, no, we don't know how to do that. So they wouldn't let me do it. And then COVID hit, and they're like, oh, you can just do whatever you want now. So I started COVID just for this class, okay? Nobody believes me. Okay, fair enough. To me, this is a writing intensive course. I don't need to see you 3 hours a week. It would be really boring for both of us. We could do more, but I need you to spend time writing, okay? We're gonna get better at that, right? So because of that, this is an interactive class. Come and participate, right? We'll talk about all kind of crazy stuff, right? Should be fun. Hopefully it'll be worth your while. I was getting ready to present to a bunch of ag economists, professors at A&M one time, and one of them is a really big deal. He works, like no joke, he's written books as a professor and all that stuff, but he also goes to DC and does work on like the Farm Bill, stuff like that, okay? And right before I'm about to present, he leans forward and whispers to me, try not to suck. Thanks, buddy, really appreciate that. So I try not to suck, okay? For class, please be here on Monday. We'll only meet once a week. The reason I'm recording it and I will post on YouTube, and I'll send information out about this, okay? If you pop positive for whatever reason and you cannot be here, that is a valid excuse, all right? If you have an excused absence, I'll hopefully every time record class, and then you'll have to write up a synopsis of what we covered. It's more work for you, so please be here if you can. But I realize that, shit happens, okay? By the way, I will swear in class I treat you like adults. If you don't like that, and I'm 100% serious, if that bothers you, please tell me. I'll turn it off, okay? But I don't hold back. So be here, read. College students are unapologetic about how much they will not read, okay? Who prides themselves on not getting textbooks. Yeah, a lot of you. You guys are horrible, horrible people, okay? You can actually learn things, right? We do not have a textbook, right? It's fairly limited. We're mostly writing. So when I give you instructions, as you'll see, we have one this week and we'll go over it. I put everything in there that I can hopefully think of. So you actually have to read it and do it yourself, okay? Sound good? Okay, please read the instructions, because you guys will send me really annoying emails. And it's not that I don't love you, because I do, and I'll answer them, but most of the time I'm like, it's right in there, okay? So please just pay attention to those, okay? Blackboard. We'll live in Blackboard. By the way, A&M uses the same thing, it's just called eCampus. I teach 9 classes, which is way too many, okay? So if I say something that doesn't make sense, please ask me. Be like, dude, what are you talking about? Okay? Please, all right? Because I won't realize that I said it. So check Blackboard often. That's where we live. That's why we only meet once a week, all right? It will really help make everybody's lives better. Sound good? Okay. I use SafeAssign on your papers. We'll go over the syllabus. I use SafeAssign, which tells me if you've plagiarized things, okay? If you guys didn't know this, you can actually tell how long professors look at your papers if they use that stuff. And is anybody know that? Did you? You ever see somebody looked at it for like 30 seconds, gave you an A?
Yeah.
10-page paper?
No.
Okay, not that long? Okay.
It's about a paragraph.
Yeah, okay, well that's fair, all right. I actually read what you write. This is a writing course. She's pissed, right? I actually read what you write because I want to make you better, not because I want to be an asshole or whatever, okay? I really want you guys to improve, and we'll go over that stuff. So, conversely, yeah, what's your name?
Clayton.
Clayton Carl?
Yes, sir.
2 first names, man. Glad you made it. And Kenton? Okay, cool. Yeah, sorry. Hopefully we'll not ever be in this stupid classroom again. Okay. Papers. Oh, so you guys can tell how long people actually read them. I can also tell how long you were in Blackboard. Creepy, right? Okay, so if it looks like you did a crappy job with an assignment, I'll go and look. I'll be like, oh, they were in there for 2.5 minutes. Okay, and what might have taken you 15 or 20, right? So just give me a good effort there, okay? In class, be original, be outspoken, be thoughtful, okay? And please don't have your phones out unless we are using them for something, okay? All right, on the syllabus is my contact information. Email works great. My cell phone number is on there. Feel free to text me, all right? If you have a short, simple question and you text me, that's 100% okay with me. A couple things. Tell me who the hell you are, because I have a lot of you, all right? And what class, right? So I can track where we're going. I do have family, nights and weekends. If it's something quick, I'll try to get back. But don't expect me to bail you out last minute on an assignment, okay? But that is on there, okay? And I'm here all day Monday. I teach 3 classes on Monday. My office is in Perkle. So if you need anything, by all means, when I'm there, door's always open. Questions about any of this stuff? All right, let's get into the syllabus before I make fun of you guys too much more. On the assignment. No textbook, nothing's too crazy. All this stuff's boring. You can read it on your own. Okay, the assignments. Hopefully I did this right. Can you guys see? If not, you can move around or whatever. And this is posted online. Okay. Here's how you do well in this class, or don't do well, right? We have writing assignments, discussion posts, in-class participation, be here, okay? And then the final paper and project. We'll get to that, okay? I'll explain that as we go. Basically, almost every week, starting this week for the next several weeks, you have either a paper or a discussion post due, all right? Here's the cool thing for you guys. While that may kind of suck, it will taper off later in the semester as we turn to your final paper. Okay, I will give you time. I break it up into segments so that you actually write a really good one instead of giving me a crap product I hate reading at the end and then you get a bad grade. Okay, we'll take it in pieces and try to set you guys up for success. I've taught this class a handful of times, so I'm trying to make it better to where it's user-friendlier for you guys. Right? The writing assignments, that's a paper. I expect you to do well. All right, I grade those far more harshly than the discussion posts. We'll get into it. Okay, discussion posts, I still expect effort, and I'm looking at how you write, but it is far easier to score well on that. Okay. Some of the discussion posts, and it'll say in the instructions, require you to actually reply to others. Not all of them. I can't remember which ones. The reason I do that is just so you guys see how people think differently. Right? It might be the same topic or whatever, but we all look at things a little differently. Okay? And then we'll move into the final paper and all that good stuff. A couple positives on that. You get to pick the topic. A lot of you guys, I read all your intros and they were great. You guys have really awesome perspective. Some of you guys know far more about certain things in ag than I do. Okay? Which is awesome. You guys have a good perspective. You guys also have things you're interested in that are happening in ag. Whether you had a strong background or not. Some of you got into it late, right? Okay, it doesn't really matter. Ag impacts all of us if we eat and we're close, right? Yes, no? I should walk around naked, man. Right. Questions about grading? I try to be timely as I can. I try to grade things quickly. One, to save me from the end of the semester, and two, to help you guys out, to help you get better. Also, if your first paper you don't do well and you're like, holy cow, I'm screwed, this is why the final paper is worth more. My goal is to make you better. A lot of you said, I don't like writing, right? There's a fair amount of you. That's 100% okay. That's what we're here for, right? How many had an English class here at Sam? How many had a good experience in that English class? So? Okay, good. All right. Not everybody does. One thing, I hate late work. I hate it. All right? Your grade will go down significantly if it's late. All right? Again, this is for a few reasons. I try to give you plenty of time to work on stuff. If it's late in the semester, it piles up on me, and I can't promise I'll get to it. So please don't turn stuff in late. Try to get it in on time. Deal? Okay. We only have one assignment per week. Shouldn't be that bad. Just don't forget. And they're always due Friday by midnight, by 11:59 p.m. on Fridays. Right? I found that if I gave you till Sunday or Monday, actually fewer people turn them in. I don't know what that's about. I was undergrad. I did everything Sunday night. Last minute. It's like you guys. Okay? So everything's due Friday. Cool? And all that stuff should be good in the calendar in Blackboard. Everything should be squared away. If you see anything, sometimes you'll even get a notice that you didn't turn it in. Don't panic if you did. I don't know why. Some reasons it just doesn't always detect that you turned something in. So if you get an email the next day after you submitted something, like, oh my God, I thought I did it. Just don't panic. You probably did. Okay? Be here. Don't cheat. Cool. Okay. Boring. Any questions about syllabus? Good? Cool. You guys are really quiet. Okay, here's you guys. You're almost done. All right. Who's it? Any seniors? Are you done this semester? This semester? You better pass. This semester? Spring? December? Okay. Juniors? And any sophomores? Cool. All right, so we'll see where you guys are. Sophomores, you're right here. Can't hardly see. Juniors. And you're headed towards a job, and it sucks. Don't ever leave. Stay here as long as you can. It's way better in the real world. Believe me? Yeah, it's way better. But who's like, I'm paying for it, and I really want to be done, and life will be awesome when I don't have any more tests and papers. You think. It never stops. Okay? Real world is horribly depressing. Okay, just a couple things. Some of you are almost done. Hopefully you kind of have college figured out at this point. This is something I actually tell every class because I don't think people always know this or understand it or appreciate it. How many of you taken a test and done pretty well? Had a good test? Never. Okay. If you took that same test 2 weeks later, how would you do? Worse. Yeah, why? Yeah. Undergrad is about memorizing and then regurgitating that information. It's awful. I'm sorry, I'm trying to fix higher education, but that's how it's set up. It's trying to get you to just memorize stuff, regurgitate it, and then you brain dump it, right? Then you forget. Go to Humps, get some beers. Done with that class, man. Right? Okay? Does anyone not live here? I live in College Station.
I do.
Yeah, right. So Northgate.
Fucking sucks, man. I hate to drive every morning. I would late as shit for that.
How many days a week?
3 days a week.
Oh, that's not too bad. I like that drive. Man, audiobook, podcast, you're golden. Right? You learn a lot. Don't believe me. Here's the thing. When you're learning, if it's only in your short-term memory, you have not learned it. You're just remembering it for a little while. Unless it's in your long-term memory, you have not learned it. You've only memorized it temporarily. That's how we learn, okay? If it's hard, that means you're learning. Who does not like math? Yeah, we're in a comm class, right? Most of you. Okay. Math, I can teach you math so much easier because there's rules. And even if you don't like it, okay? Look, if I try to teach you trigonometry right now, it's not going to go that great. But we can figure it out, honestly, because it follows rules. It's relatively easy, okay? If it's hard, you're actually learning, right? Your brain is actually trying to figure it out. And what it does is assimilate it to what you already know. Who knows what that word means? Who knows what assimilate means? Somebody. Nobody? Just scared to talk. It means you're associating it with things you already know. You're taking the new thing and you're trying to pair it with something that you already know. Okay? So that's what happens when you read something or hear something, right? You're trying to figure it out. Right? In here, we're not going to do quizzes or tests. This is a writing class. Some of you were bummed. Who's left-handed? Somebody wrote about being left-handed. Yeah. It's like, I don't like writing because I'm left-handed. Well, you can type, bro. You unpeck? Oh, my God. We'll work on you, okay? One thing I will tell you, when you have classes with tests, think about what you're going to be tested on, and I guarantee you'll be right most of the time. How many of you are studying for a test, and there's something that's hard for you? And so you're like, oh, I won't worry about the hard part. I'll do everything else that I'm good at. What happens when you get that test?
It's all the hard stuff.
It's all the hard shit, right? You're like, I'm screwed, and I'm going to fail this class. Okay, I got to do it. When is the add drop deadline here? Does anybody know? Add drop deadline for when you can add drop classes? It's coming up, right? It's usually really early.
I think it's today.
I think it's today, too. I know at A&M it is, but they started a little bit later. Okay. By the way, your education, just as good as theirs. You can tell anybody that, right? If anybody gives you shit about being Bearcat, like, my professor teaches at A&M, too. Same education. Okay? Tell them to suck it. Probably shouldn't put that on video. Okay, now we got to do some work. All right? Now we're going to do a little work. I want you to read this and tell me what you think. Let me try and kill this front light a little bit. If you need to move up, move up. Sort of. Doesn't help a whole. Great. That's literally the wrong direction. Does that help? Can you see okay? All right. Give that a read. Good? What do you notice?
Grammatical errors.
Huh?
Grammatical errors.
Yep. Where? Any particular?
Was should be were
Where at?
in the first sentence.
First sentence. Okay. Yeah, that was brought over from Europe. Yep. Okay, what else?
Repetitive words like sow pig should just be sow.
Yep. Good. What else?
Pack is incorrect.
Huh?
Pax is incorrect. It should be Sounders.
Okay. We can split that up. Yep. Okay, what else?
This is New York Times.
The sentence? How horrible of a sentence is this? Along with being destructive, they're also aggressive, comma. Back in November of 2019, a lady in Texas was killed by feral hogs at her home, according to a New York Times article. Who got tired of reading that? right? Not well used, okay? What else?
There's no cited sources.
Bingo. Is any of this true?
Yeah.
No idea. Maybe, all right? Maybe you've heard of some of this stuff. We live in Texas, right? Pigs are everywhere and they're causing problems. Fair enough. Do I have any reason to believe you as an undergrad are an expert on a subject?
You don't have to.
Sadly, no, huh?
I mean, you don't have to, but
I don't have to, but I also have no reason to. Even if you're an expert, because none of this is cited or proven. Doesn't mean they obviously used the New York Times article. Then cite it. Okay, we'll get into how. Who does not like citing because they're worried they don't know how to do it? Yeah, fair, 100%, okay? Don't panic. We're gonna work on that, okay? But you have to prove what you're claiming. Most of you guys, again, especially with a strong ag background, if you write about the ranch you grew up on, okay, and you've learned a whole bunch of things, you'll just write that, okay? And you'll just pump out all this information, and I don't have any reason to believe that it's true, okay? So we have to go prove it, all right? We'll work on doing that. Cool. All right, another one. What do we notice?
The citations are incorrect.
Yeah, okay. They're trying. I'll give you a little credit, okay? At least they're citing what they're talking about. Okay, what else do we notice?
Is it first sentence or wrong?
The idea of organic farming was introduced in the early 1900s by Sir Albert Howard, and many others who believed that the use of animal manure and biologically based pesticides resulted in a more ideal farming system. Okay. What do we notice about that?
very long.
And
Long ands. What about the content? How long have we been doing organic farming?
No.
Everything was organic. Huh?
It's like the very beginning.
Every piece of farming we've ever done was organic up until about 70 years ago. Okay? This dude didn't come up with it in the 1900s. Now, he may have labeled it whatever, but every type of farming was organic before we started manufacturing herbicides and pesticides. Okay? Can you use herbicides and pesticides with organic farming?
yes,
Uh-huh. Yeah, certain ones, right? And if you really want to get into it and be a science nerd, we can get into hydrocarbons and what's considered organic. That's for you guys to figure out. Okay? Cool. Okay, so we're trying here. We're a little better. We've got some proof. We're at least supporting what we're talking about. So I'm going to give them some credit for that. Yeah, the citations aren't quite right, but we're close. Okay? I won't even get into how, because we'll do that throughout the course of the semester. Okay? Does this flow well?
better than the last one. But
It's better than the first one, right? We're a little more on target, right? But we're still got a little work to do. Okay? All right. Good. All right, now. do you notice?
There's no extra words and then the site.
Okay, yeah, citations, we're a little all over with how many names are in this one, and we got 2 different years. Just don't do this. Okay, there's apparently 2 sources. Fine, but it's not how we want to do it, right? You can use multiple sources. Right, what else?
Food a lot.
Okay, repetition of food, of the word food, yeah, okay. Sometimes that's okay. How many times you guys write something and you think, I keep using this word, I need to say something different? Don't, it's okay to keep it simple. You don't have to use like super complicated words. You don't need to try and sound smarter. Keep things simple. Most newspaper articles are written at like a 5th grade reading level, honest to goodness. Okay, because they want everyone to be able to understand. Right? Sometimes they're just lazy. Okay, what else? There's a lot going on in here.
There's like 3 different sentences of how the organic foods are increasing in popularity.
Yes. Are they all true? Why not?
One of
I
them,
don't know. Huh?
one of them cited. but-
One of them cited, okay,
The other
a major
one
force
said-
behind, let's look at the first one that said, major force behind the rapid growth of organic food industry since 2000 has been consumer demand for organic food. Okay, probably, right? More people want it, so we're gonna make more. Seems reasonable, right? Okay, we'll stick with that. The response to consumer demand has led to a rapid increase in farmland allocated to organic farming and in government incentives designed to encourage farmers to switch to conventional farming to organic from conventional. Also cited. Believable?
Yeah.
Probably, yeah. Okay, you got a source in there. I'll take your word for it, and you're backing it up. Okay. Right now, organic foods are generally more expensive than conventionally grown foods because of their nutritional value and scarcity. True or false? Why? Who said false? Why?
This is not, like, it's not scarcity.
We don't really know if that's true, right? The sentence before that is talking about the incentives and we're moving the land. Okay, so there's more incentive to do it, yet it's scarce. So a little conflicting there, right? Okay, and let's go back to the very beginning, all right? Second sentence, organic grown food has higher nutritional value than conventionally grown food. True or false? Not proven. You can argue it, okay, and there's plenty of research. Pick a side. I don't care what you guys think. I can't. Has anybody seen A Few Good Men? Tom Cruise? It's a great movie, right? He gets in an argument and he says, it doesn't matter what I believe, it only matters what I can prove. Okay? I won't do my Tom Cruise because it's not very good. Okay? Plus I'm like 12 inches taller than he is. It's pretty funny. I'm pretty funny. Hang with me. It's a lot more enjoyable. Okay? Okay, so there's some stuff in there that's proven, that's good. We're on the same subject, that's good. Pretty long paragraph, right? Who saw that slide and was like, I don't want to read this? My man in the back, 100%. Okay? Yeah, you're like, this sucks. Imagine me reading all of your guys' papers. All right? And especially when they're bad. And I'm like, oh! Okay? The funny thing is, and please, if you want to write about organic, great. But everyone does, so I get really tired of it. And I also know a lot about it. Okay? But everybody cites there's one research article they find, and everybody cites the same one, and it's hilarious to me. Okay, fair enough. Okay, anything else on this one? Only got 28 more. Okay, another one. What do you notice?
That's a lot of words,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not very well constructed.
You don't think? Why?
It's due to its involvement in the food cycle, illness, or even of age, death is inevitable. Whether it be due to is just kind of weird.
Little wordy,
Genetically.
little wordy.
But it in the first sentence is used wrong. It says no matter it is size.
No matter its size. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but, yeah. There's an apostrophe.
Yeah, that one's correct.
Not, no matter it is.
No matter its, I'm sorry, you're right. That one's not correct. Okay. What else?
The citations look right.
Damn right. Okay, we're on the right track here with citations. Okay. Couple things I'll show you. When you have more, I think it's 3 or more. I don't remember. You don't need to list everybody's names. Okay, you can do the et al, which we've seen here. This citation, there's probably several authors, which is usually the case on a research article. You don't need to cite them all. Okay, that's okay.
Are we gonna have several authors on our research papers?
You're the only author on yours. Okay, but when you're using research, you'll have multiple authors. Okay. Does this flow pretty well though? It's all on the same subject, right? This one flows pretty well. Little wordy, I'll give you that. Okay, but it's on point with the subject and backing it up. Okay, so we're talking about death in animals. We're talking about why. We're explaining what euthanasia is. Okay, here's something that's really good, and I think this is the reason I put it as an example. When anybody on the rodeo team? Somebody rode my rodeo. Okay, cool. You guys love to write about PETA. Holy crap, I've read so many papers about PETA. It's exhausting. Okay, and normally, in all honesty, PETA writes shit. They put out terrible papers. Some of them are good. Most of them, it's just to incite emotion. There's no fact, right? There's no statistics, and if there is, it's like one, and they'll base an entire paper on that, okay, or opinion piece, whatever, fine. So you guys in the rodeo love to write about your professional animals and how they're athletes and all that stuff, right? Okay, fine. You're still terrible at it because you guys get really mad at PETA. Fine, I don't care. Be mad at PETA, but you have to prove it. Instead, you just go on and write your stupid opinion that nobody believes. Okay? And that's fine. Use your emotion, but prove it. There's research out there that supports you. There's research out there that supports any freaking thing. Anything you want to prove, you can probably prove. Okay? Or at least back up. Now, is it good research? That's another argument. Okay? One of the things that's good in here, and the reason I bring up PETA, is because you guys will just write PETA. Who knows what PETA stands for? No, right? Okay? You ever read a paper that says GOP? You know what GOP stands for? You know what it's referring to? Republicans. The newspaper does that to make it shorter. GOP stands for Grand Old Party, which is like a 180-year-old term. But they have to fit it in the headlines. Nobody has any idea what GOP means anymore, right? When you guys are writing about PETA or whatever, GMOs, whatever, you will not spell it out the first time, and you have to. If she doesn't tell you what an RVN is, do you know what it is? No, you don't have a clue. So you're like, what the hell are we talking about? And I think this was a she, I don't remember. But she wrote registered veterinary nurses, then puts RVN in there, and from then on, she can reference RVN. So the first time you write about PETA or GMO, does anyone know what GMO stands for? What is it?
Genetically modified organisms?
Yep. Okay, good. Not everybody knows. Okay? So the first time you do it, even if you think it's a phrase everybody's heard, spell it out. Okay? All right, one more. I think this is our last one. Yep, last one, I think. Long, sorry.
This is the discussion.
You're the only one that did it. I didn't read it. I just said Ashley. Yeah, you're the only one that did it. You're married, right?
Also hoping to retire early from my kids.
Okay. What sports?
Baseball.
Nice. Done? What do you notice?
They use the same, source until the very end.
Yep, that's true. Fair enough. Same source 3 times in a row, and then second source down at the end. Okay. What else? Sure did. Started with quotes. Is that a bad thing?
No, but there's really nothing other than cited sources. There's not a whole lot of personal input in that.
You're correct. Is that a bad thing?
Yes.
Yes?
Nope.
No?
No. How many of you had classes in high school where they told you not to just cite everything, not to copy everything? If you are writing a paper that you need to prove something, this is exactly how you should write. Now, this is graduate level work. This is not an undergrad paper, okay? And this is part of the, put that down. We'll be breaking shit in here.
I hear it now, though.
Okay. You're right. There is not a lot of the author stuff. Now, this is only one paragraph out of an entire paper. All right. This is how you prove things. Yeah. One source was used multiple times. That's okay, because hopefully you've got a bunch more throughout the paper. If you're just using 1 or 2 or 3 sources, that's not nearly enough. Okay. You guys are going to get annoyed with how many sources I make you put in papers. Right. But it honestly makes your life easier. It will make it easier to write the paper if you have a whole bunch of information. Okay? Then you take your thoughts and you put them all together. How many of you guys, when you write a paper, you sit down about an hour before it's due? Guys, tell them the truth. Okay? On your papers, please do not wait till the last minute. Okay? I know you guys don't like doing this, but write some drafts. Terrible idea. Write it, spell check, done. Right? Why did I get a C? Ooh.
But when you're like even, so I'm trying to like, when you're using your own words,
Mm-hmm.
even if it's a couple, shouldn't you be using either quotes or manipulating those quotes to flow with the few words that you're using? And
That's what we'll work
I
on.
noticed a lot in that.
That's what we'll work on. Again, this is only one paragraph. I can't remember specifically why I pulled this one. One of the things you'll notice, and again, we'll work on it. If you use a direct quote, you need a page number. If you paraphrase, you do not. So if I don't have direct quotes, I think the last one is. No, it's a direct quote. If you paraphrase, which is fine, you still have to put the source. So you just would leave the page number off. So if this was not in quotes and this was something that I took from their information, put in my own words, I still have to cite it. But I don't need a page number and there wouldn't be quotes. Okay, so you can do that too, absolutely. But you've got to prove what you're talking about. You can't just make a claim, all right, about animals in rodeo and not prove it, either before or after. So you're going to have a boatload of citations in your papers. Okay, you have to prove it. Does that make sense? Again, usually people just argue with opinion. I'm going to make you awesome. Again, you guys brought up great things in your little introduction about what you think is important in ag. You guys brought up awesome topics. Okay? I'm going to let you, and if it's not, it doesn't have to be what you wrote about, right? But start thinking about what is a topic you would really like to know a lot about in ag. Okay? And you're going to do a paper on it, and then you're going to be an expert. You're like, let's talk to PETA right now. Get him on the phone. Okay? I'm going to make you an expert. Okay? And he touched on it. Okay? So for this week's assignment, let me get in there and I'll show you. That way I can address any questions that you guys may have. Questions about any of this? I believe you. Usually when I ask a question, I'll just wait. I'll just literally stand here and wait until you answer it. So speak up in class, okay? Okay. And look, I'm sorry, I don't love Blackboard probably any more than you do, but it's what we have to work with. Okay, I've tried to make it better, but it doesn't always do what I want it to do either. Okay, so this week's assignment, you're going to read this academic writing example, okay, that's attached, and as Ashley pointed out, and I'll try really hard to get to know your names. It sucks with the masks, right? As I try and like learn your faces and your names and all that stuff. We only meet once a week, so I'll try. Okay. You're gonna read that. It'll take you a minute. It's not even all the paper, right? But it is like half of a paper, and you're gonna see that there's a boatload of citations in there, okay? But notice how it flows, right? Again, it's graduate level work, okay? But I want you to see what a well-edited and well-written academic paper looks like. Your research paper at the end is going to be a well-written academic paper, okay? Your papers obviously won't be as long. Again, it's only part of it, but the formatting and style should match. This is APA citations. Anybody used APA before? Okay, good. If you haven't, you're used to MLA, don't panic. They're really not that different. There's actually websites out there that'll help you cite things, okay? I don't care if you use them, right? Just make sure they're good ones, because there's some bad ones out there. Okay? I want you to notice the author's voice, how points are supported, their cited evidence, okay? This is not just opinion. The statements made in the paper are supported with unbiased, hopefully research, from credible sources, not Wikipedia. And you guys, especially with organic stuff and GMO and all this stuff, you guys would go to websites where there's no author listed. You should immediately question what the hell that is. Because they're just trying to tell their side of the story, right? You have no idea if it's unbiased. They're just putting it out there, right? And then, honestly, those will be some of the first hits you'll find on Google. Right? Use Google Scholar or the SAM online library database. Okay, we'll get into that. So for your first discussion post, I want you to tell me what you noticed about everything you read in there. What's good? Are there problems with it? How does it compare to your writing style? Similar or different? So look at papers that you've written, good and bad ones. Okay, things that you've gotten feedback for. All right. And tell me what stands out. All right. Give me effort. Do not write these on your phone. If I see I, like the letter I not capitalized, I'm going to get really mad. Okay? Please give me some effort. It's one assignment a week. Can you do that? No? Then you're not going to do well. Okay? Appreciate your honesty. Okay? Please actually give me some effort. All right? This is not a one paragraph thing. All right? I say effort because I don't like to bring up length. Your final paper, I don't give a shit how long it is. But it better prove everything. So if I read 2 pages and I have a bunch of questions, it's not a good paper, right? So when I say give me effort, just try to address it. Try to address it thoroughly, okay? If I say write 4 paragraphs, you guys will only write 4 paragraphs, okay? So just please address it with a good effort, okay? And spell check and proofread. Go back and actually read what you wrote. Please, okay? Because a lot of you will not. And your grade will suffer. Okay, questions?
So, like, on that one is just pretty much what we just did?
Yeah, so I did it. I used to give this to people at the end of the semester to show them, and I was not helping you guys in that manner. I would let you write your first paper, and you usually would turn in a crap piece, paper, just to test me out, and it was horribly depressing. And then you'd get a bad grade and be upset. That's not a good way for me to start the class. I want you to show you what good writing looks like, and then we're going to try to aim for that. Cool? And for the papers we write, I think all of them, we'll go over them week by week, but I like to let you guys choose a topic. I want you to actually be interested in what you're writing about. Make it far more enjoyable. Okay? And then you go and rate my professor and be like, Dr. Payne's awesome. Better. Okay? Any other questions? That's a good question. Yes, ma'am.
If you wanted to show you our draft,
Mm-hmm.
is it okay for us to email, or would that be like an in-class type thing where we all interact?
Prefer email or after class or whatever. I can't always promise, especially if it's like the day before. If you give me a couple days, then yeah, I can usually go through it. And I'm not gonna grade it, but I'll definitely give you feedback. Yeah, if you guys want to reach out and you're working on stuff ahead of time, then by all means send it my way, and I'll try to give you feedback. I want you guys to do well.
On the discussions, are you going to interact with that at all, or is it just like you write what you write and then that's it?
Sometimes. Sometimes I'll respond right in there in Blackboard. I think it notifies you if I do. But you can go back and check. Or I think in the grading, I just enter the grading. It depends on how they're coded. I'll always give you feedback. I used to give you way more in your papers, but nobody cares. Right? And it was a lot of work for me. I was trying to help people be better. Online, please don't do this. They wrote a draft of the final paper, and I was grading all of them as quickly as I could to give you time to revise it and turn in your final paper, and they turned in the same thing, okay? And then I would murder you, okay? Zero, not zero, but it was not good, okay? I wish I could remember. This poor sweet kid wrote about the importance of rodeo queens, and I can't remember the word, but she didn't know what it meant, and she kept using it wrong over and over and over. And I was like, you just defeated your entire purpose of your paper because you didn't know what this word meant. I can't remember what it was because it threw me off so much. Okay, so please don't do that. Okay. All right. Are we all gonna be awesome writers at the end of this?
Probably not.
I'm gonna make you better. I will make you better. Okay. Promise you that. Right? You give me effort, I will make you better. Right? Some of you talking about grad school and stuff like that. This stuff's important. Who's never going to school once they finish? I thought the same thing. That's okay. And on that note, honestly, who's first generation college student? It's a fair amount. Good for you guys. That's awesome. I cannot tell you, and we'll talk about a lot of different stuff. One thing you can't write about is COVID. One, everybody's tired of talking about it. Try not to talk about it. It's awful. Two, there's not enough research yet. Somebody brought up like how COVID is impacting show barns and stuff like that. There's not enough research. There's like quick research, short research. There's not enough unbiased research on COVID and how it's impacting ag. In 5 or 10 years, we'll have a boatload of it. But right now, that's not a good research topic. Okay. But I cannot stress enough how important your degree is right now for getting a good job. Okay. The economy is crazy right now. Okay. People are working more blue-collar jobs and stuff like that. They're suffering. Get your degree. Finish. Okay? Don't drop the class. All right? I will help get you through it if you give me effort. All right? I want everyone to pass and do well. We do that? Cool. Any other questions for me? Sometimes we'll go full-time. Rarely will we actually. So please be here and give me effort. Yes, sir?
Next Monday, is it gonna be where it was supposed to be?
Yes, 107. And I'll remind you guys. I try to over communicate a little bit because I know half the time you guys don't read the emails anyway. So I try and hit you guys a couple of times just to remind you. Okay? Awesome. Go have a wonderful week.
Honestly, this is great.